Hey YouTube, it's your local Chia seed here. So today's video is going to be about a poem I wrote when I was in 7th grade and a little story about it because it's recently came up again, okay? So let me find the poem for you and we'll get right to the video.
Raps just made me anxious and acid made me crazy. Them squares just made me lose.
Okay, so I wrote a poem in 7th grade for my 7th grade literacy class. We had to write poems. And first I wrote a poem and it literally goes like this. Hashtag YOLO, eat a Rolo. And my literacy teacher said, that's not a poem, write something else, write something deep. So, me, being the smartass that I am, wrote a poem about a marshmallow, okay? So, I entitled it, The Voyage. Let's continue. White fluffy cloud drifting in a plastic bag. Pick me, each white fluffy cloud says. Finally, a small sausage-like thing grabs a perfect one. She puts me on a wooden stick. Suddenly I see red, orange, yellow, and a little bit of blue. Amber sparks flying everywhere. Crackling sounds fill my ears as she puts me over it. Suddenly I feel warmth and smooth on the inside, almost as if I'm being held in a hard outside shell. My white fluffy skin, now tan and crisp, now I look different from the others that were still calling for me. Tan and crisp, with the crackling noise still in my ears, suddenly I am taking from my warm red place. I get a strong wind and some wetness too. Then back to the warm red crackling place. Suddenly I'm going from tan and crisp to black. I was taken out of my crackling place and put onto something brown and sugary. Then I was trapped and smooshed. And with the same tan I was sitting on, I was crunched on by white hard chompers. I am gone. Okay, so that's a poem I wrote in 7th grade about a marshmallow being taken out of the bag, cooked, and eaten, okay? You know, white fluffy cloud, marshmallows. Okay, I put the title in orange, and then each line is a different font size, but it still is one color. It's all red. But the bottom I says I am gone, and that's inside font size 96. Give you a little visual there. So, during field hockey season this year, we started talking about my poem, and no one really believed that I wrote a stupid poem about a marshmallow and handed it in as my deep poem. So I printed it out and they made me hang it up. Well, they didn't make me, I wanted to hang it up. But they had me hang it up in the locker room right next to my locker. So it's on the side of my locker, okay? And it stayed there for about a good 3 or 4 days, okay? Then, all of a sudden, I get called into the office. Someone took my poem in the locker room, because mind you, this isn't just for sports, this is for, like, the whole school, like, all the girls in the school locker room. Someone read my poem, thought I was suicidal for writing a poem about a marshmallow when I was in 7th grade. And then they brought it to, like, the guidance counselor or whatever, not my guidance counselor, I don't know what he's called, but they brought it to some guy, and he called me down, and mind you, they took me out of my AP class to talk about this. They called me down, and he's like, Tia, are you suicidal? And I was like, no. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I was like, no, I'm not suicidal. What are you talking about? And he goes, well, I read your poem, and it has some suicidal thoughts in it. So I'm like, okay, so I never write anything deep, like, about me personally. So I'm like, what is he talking about? Then it hit me. Maybe it's about my poem in the locker room. So he pulls out my poem that I had hung up in the locker room, and it's all, like, folded up now. He opens it, and he goes, some student handed this to me and said that there's triggering thoughts in it, and it has suicidal thoughts in it. My poem that I wrote about a marshmallow in 7th grade. Okay, so I explained to him, I was like, I'm not suicidal, I'm really happy, and my poem is about a marshmallow. Did you even read it? And he goes, oh, well, some people don't know that. what? So I'm sitting there. Then I call my actual guidance counselor in, and she's like, Tia's really happy, da da da. And he goes, I just want to make sure she's okay. And I'm like, I wrote this poem in 7th grade. Me, now a sophomore in 10th grade. This is coming up as suicidal? Okay. So I didn't go back to my class at this point. What else? Oh, then all of a sudden the assistant principal walks in and was asking me about my poem. Obviously, whoever handed in my poem needs to be on medication. Because obviously whoever handed in my poem thought that a marshmallow is suicidal. Okay? Tell me what's suicidal about a marshmallow. Nothing. So I'm still sitting there missing my AP class because they think I'm suicidal. I kept saying, I'm not suicidal. I don't know why you're doing this to me. Finally, I just said, you can keep my poem. I won't hang it up again. And I just left the room. They thought I was suicidal over a marshmallow poem. I wrote this in 7th grade. It's my deep poem. It's literally about a marshmallow being taken from the bag, being put in the fire, being cooked like, you know, s'mores, then being put on some graham crackers and chocolate, all nice. And they thought I was suicidal. Okay. So that is East Hampton High School Part 2 for you. Well, that's it for today. See you next time. Love, your local Chia seed.
Fucking out, mine, even fucking done, I'm good.